Dr. Joseph Mercola is an osteopathic physician. Dr. Mercola is also board certified in family medicine, and he is trained in both traditional and natural medicine. In this video, Dr. Mercola poses questions to Dr. Yoshiaki Sato, the inventor of KAATSU training.
Dr. Sato, I am so grateful to have the opportunity to connect with you via this video format. And since the last video I created, I remembered I had another question for you.
Hello, and thank you for watching this video. My name is Sato, the inventor of KAATSU. Today, I'd like to answer your questions about KAATSU. So Dr. Sato, what a great honor and a privilege to connect with you, even though it's virtually and sort of time delayed. I first of all want to express my deep appreciation and gratitude for your amazing body of work and your commitment and your dedication and helping me personally. I've always understood the importance of building muscle mass to avoid sarcopenia as you age. And I personally am not aware of any more effective intervention than the KAATSU system that you've developed. So the purpose of this video is really twofold. One is to express my gratitude for your work. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And this question relates to the implementation of the technique that you've developed. And I'd just like to get your insights on the subtleties of figuring out the number of repetitions that you're using in the sequencing and the time between the sets. So ideally, the recommendation is to use a weight that essentially is about 30% of your 1 rep max. And to do somewhere about 100 reps divided into 3. So maybe 40 the first set, then 30 and 30, or 25, or maybe even as low as 75 reps or even 60. But I'm wondering how you determine the optimal number of reps and the subtleties that are involved and the variables that contribute to moving that number up or down in either direction. Then in addition to that, the other variable is the amount of time between sets within that one movement. So normally it's 3 sets. So I used to try to wait 10 or 15 seconds, but I guess because I have some cardiac challenges, I tend to listen to my heart more and see when it calms down and it's like beating okay, and then I go jump into the next set. So rather than the 10 or 15 seconds, it may be closer to 30, sometimes maybe even a little bit more, depending on what the exercise I'm doing, if it's a heavier weight or not. So maybe 45 seconds. So if you can give me your feedback on that, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. First, I'd like to talk about the differences between the KAATSU cycle mode and the KAATSU constant mode. But before that, let me quickly explain how KAATSU was created and how the KAATSU cycle mode started. In 1966, KAATSU wasn't invented yet. However, I loved weight training so much that I did bodybuilding and powerlifting. At that time, I used very heavy weights. These made me feel painful in many parts of my body, but I kept doing weight training, even when it made me suffer. Then in November 1966, while I was in high school during a Japanese Buddhist memorial service, I was sitting on the floor in the seiza, or kneeling, position with the top of my feet flat on the floor. Many of you may know about Japanese sitting called seiza. After 30 to 45 minutes of sitting in the seiza position, my lower body became numb. I could not move at all.
特に下半身がもう全くこう意識が伝わらない、麻痺しちゃって動かなくなって、それでその時
At that
に
moment, while I was massaging my calves, I noticed that my calf muscles were stiff.
自分でマッサージしてたら、あ、パンパンになってる。もしかしてそのふくらはぎがパンパンになったっていうことは、トレーニングで
I realized then that moderating blood flow during exercise might produce that kind of effect.
制限することがその効果を生み出すんじゃないかっていうヒントを得たんですね。それから自分の体に
From that moment, and after 7 years of trial and error using my own body, I learned about how my body worked with blood flow moderation, and became to understand its know-how.
7年間自分の体に対する自分だけですよ、ノウハウが分かったのは7年間かかりました。1973年ですね。
By 1973, I understood how much pressure had to apply to my body, and for how long.
加圧っていうものが分かって、でどれだけ締めた方がいいか、それから蒸発する時間はどのくらいとか。
Also, I learned how many times and how many minutes I could apply it to my own body in one day.
何十分やるとか、そういう全てのノウハウが自分自身の体では分か
At
った。
that moment, I didn't know about the effect of this kind of training on other people.
そしたらその
Then,
1973
in March 1973, I was seriously injured in a skiing accident. I refused to get operated at a relative's hospital, and thought I could recover using KAATSU, so I started to treat myself.
大怪我をして、それでその僕の親戚の病院でオペをする、治療をするってことを僕は拒否して、それで加圧で治せるんじゃないかっていうことで自ら加圧で治したんですね、結果は。それで
I had fractured both ankles, and torn the meniscus, and medial collateral ligament of my knee that the doctors said would take 5 months to heal completely.
くるぶしが骨折してますので、それから膝の半月板と内側側副靭帯ですから、普通は全治5ヶ月あるいは6ヶ月かかるわけです。
Actually, it took 5 to 6 months, since I knew the extent of the injury based on the x-rays.
そういうものでどのくらいのダメージを受けているかってことをその知った時のその写真は全治5ヶ月から6ヶ月。
But, by using KAATSU, the bones healed in 1 month.
によって1ヶ月で骨融合したわけですね。骨融合。そうすると
At that time, I didn't understand how my bones could heal themselves.
そういうのは分からない時代でした。僕自身。
Until that time, I had used KAATSU to build muscle and strength, but due to the bone breaks due to my skiing accident, I learned that KAATSU also had medicinal benefits.
そしたらスキーで骨折することによってそういう医療的な面に効果があるっていうことが分かったわけです。
At that time, since I had my leg in a cast, my knee and ankles were obviously fixed in a position and I was unable to bend or stretch my legs at all.
足を右の膝、左の足首、右の膝、それから右の足首にギブスをガチッと固めてますので、足の屈伸運動は全くできない状況ですね。それで
And also, at that time there was no air band, like we have nowadays, that I could use on my upper leg. So, I tightened it wrapped bands around my legs, with the right amount of pressure for
エ
reining.
アバンドはないわけですから、いわゆるラップバンドで自分で手で締めて自分に対する適切な圧を与えて、それでトレーニングを行う。
However, I couldn't do any KAATSU constant training on my right leg since it was in a cast.
加圧してトレーニングができないわけですね。そこで
So, I applied some pressure. After a while, when you could not feel anything due to the numbness, I released the bands, and then relaxed. Then, I reapplied the pressure, released the bands, and relaxed, and so
そしたら
on.
緩めて、そしたらまた加圧して緩める。それが
That was the origins of today's KAATSU cycle mode, where I developed the
元
basics.
になったんですね。基礎になったんです。
Now, I'd like to present a summary to
概要
Dr.
を話しておきます。先生方に伝えておきたいと思います。で
I
は
would like to address the main question regarding the differences between the KAATSU constant mode and the KAATSU cycle mode.
コンスタント、加圧トレーニングとサイクル、それの違いに入りたいと思います。まず、
First, we have KAATSU at the top, followed by KAATSU training in the constant mode, KAATSU rehabilitation, and finally KAATSU beauty.
トレーニングがあり、それから加圧リハビリがあり、加圧ビューティーがあり、そうすると横並びなんですね。
The KAATSU constant mode can be used by healthy people or athletes.
はアスリートあるいは健康な人が行います。
KAATSU constant is used by people with no health problems, without any painful state, who have stable blood
それから
pressure.
血圧関係とかそういうのを安定している問題ない健康な人たちが行うわけですね。その時は
These individuals can do the constant
コン
mode.
スタントモードで行うわけです。
However, the KAATSU cycle mode is more effective for those who have poorer health, by maybe injured, undergoing rehabilitation, or simply those who are at an older age.
お年寄りとか、僕も怪我した時そうですけども、そういう弱い人たち、アスリートまでいかない、一般の人よりも弱い人たちは、そのサイクルを使うと、より効果的なんですね。その大き
Though
な
I think
理由です
doctors know
が
the main reason for it, allow me briefly to explain it.
お分かりだと思いますが、まずちょっと具体的に言いますね。伝えます。腕に
When a KAATSU band is applied to the arm, in the arm's arteries and veins, the arterial blood that enters makes a U-turn and goes back as venous blood.
腕の動脈、静脈、そうすると動脈血がこう入ってきます。それから U ターンして静脈血が戻ってきます。
Obviously, the part where the pressure is applied is tight.
その部位、締められている部位のところに当然プレッシャーがかかっているわけですね。そうすると
The structure of our blood vessels consists of arteries, veins, and the inner, middle, and outer walls of the vascular
血
system.
管の構造、動脈、静脈、内膜、中膜、外膜でできております。そうすると
Arteries are often located deeper in the limbs compared to the veins.
動脈は静脈より深部のところに存在しているのが多いわけですね。
So, when KAATSU is applied, and the blood vessels are compressed, even if it's a regular pressure, the pressure applied to the arteries and veins is
それに
different.
よって血管が圧迫されます。そうすると同じ当然圧なんですが、動脈と静脈にかかる圧が血管に対しては違うんですね。違う。そうすると
Veins are easily
静脈が
compressed. When that happens, naturally, there is no blood
動
flow.
脈が潰れてなくてもかなり絞られてますけども、静脈は潰れる。と潰れるとどうなるかというと、当然今度止血が起こってくるわけですね。止血が。
Usually, the blood will not be able to return, but it's not the case with KAATSU.
ところがそれは加圧トレーニングではないんですね。ないんです。
BFR stops the blood flow. When I show KAATSU bands to doctors around the world, many of them think KAATSU is a form of BFR.
BFR かと思うドクターが多いと思うんです。
But, it is completely different from BFR. BFR's air bands are tools that are used to stop bleeding.
BFR のエアバンドは止血させるための道具ですね。それは止血。
This is different than the KAATSU world. We apply only moderate pressure, without having the effect of a tourniquet on a limb. That is KAATSU.
程よく制限して止血はさせない。それが加圧トレーニングなんですね。
I want everyone to understand this difference. When compressing the inner, middle, and outer walls of the vascular tissue, since they are strong, the arteries are less likely to get
動
blocked.
脈のがその平滑筋という筋肉は非常に強いですよ。ですから潰れにくいんですね。
If the veins are blocked, blood will not flow, therefore it is not
静
training.
脈が潰れたら流れなくなるからそれはトレーニングになりません。ところが
BFR doesn't allow you to
そ
train,
の
it just stops the blood
トレ
flow.
ーニングにさせない止血のためにやるわけですからね。だからまた
The mechanism of KAATSU constant mode is that by applying moderate pressure to the vascular tissue, the venous blood is allowed to return from the slightly
その
compressed
内膜
limbs.
中膜外膜に程よくぐーっと圧がかかることによってその狭まったところから戻るわけですね。静脈血が戻ってくる。
The arteries in the upper arms and upper legs are also compressed, but because the muscle walls are strong, more blood can enter than get out with the venous flow.
筋肉自体が静脈血が出るよりも入ってきます。ところが
The slower the venous flow becomes, the more blood pooling occurs in the
だん
limbs.
だん中で詰まってくるんですね。
If the venous flow gets very clogged, your hands start to throb, and if poorly done, they will change to a purple color, and finally feel completely numb.
下手したらその紫色っぽくなってね。それでもちょっと手の感覚もないような状況。
At that moment, even if you measure your oxygen saturation,
大津差しで
SPO2, I don't think you'll get any numerical analysis.
数値は出ないと思います。それから
Blood pressure also can't be measured because of the applied pressure in the arm.
腕の加圧されている血圧が上がっても血圧が測れない状況だと思います。
It is important not to get to this point.
しちゃいけないですね。その手前です。
Doing the KAATSU constant mode requires a lot of experience and skill to do properly.
非常に経験と技術がいるんです。経験と技術。
You have to learn the KAATSU constant mode for at least a year in order to thoroughly
1 年
understand it.
間は自分自身にやらないとわからない。ところが
In the KAATSU cycle mode, we apply an initial
除
pressure.
圧をするわけです。
Even if the pressure is applied for 30 seconds in the pressurized KAATSU cycle mode, the blood flow does not stop.
除圧をする。ということはそこで血液がぐっとまた流れるわけですね。
By doing that, we see an increase in blood lactate concentration in the blood vessels.
血管の中の血中乳酸濃度が高まってくると
Then, we feel a muscle pump as the muscles stretch.
筋肉が張ってきます。
By doing proper KAATSU constant with push-ups, reverse push-ups, triceps extensions, you feel like your muscles are stronger.
大胸筋が張ってきたな。リバースプッシュアップしてても三頭筋トライセプスやってる時に張ってきたな。
That means you are in very good
非
condition.
常にいい状況なんですね。
But if you keep doing the KAATSU constant mode, your limbs become more and more purple. That means that there is no blood flow.
今度張りがなくなって血流の流れがなくなります。そうすると
The KAATSU constant mode can cause the arterial blood to flow backward.
逆流する戻ることも起きてくるんです。
If the pump up becomes even a little less, this is not good. It is complete nonsense and is, in fact, dangerous.
良くない危険であるんですね。
So, the KAATSU constant mode requires a lot of experience, know-how, and technical skill.
技術を要する、巧みの技 よく日本の言葉で巧みって言うんですけど。
However, the KAATSU cycle mode can be done safely by
誰でも
anyone,
安心してできるんです。もうお年寄りでも。
even older people.
そうする
In the
と
KAATSU cycle mode, the saturation difference can be measured during the process.
サチュレーションで測ることができるわけですよ。だからそれだ
That's
け
why the KAATSU cycle mode is
安
safe.
全なんですね。
KAATSU activates every hormone, and the hormones are needed to fight viruses in our body.
そのいろんなホルモン、もうありとあらゆるもの、我々の体の若い時にもうどんどん出ていろんなホルモン、もういろんなウイルスとかビルスとかそういうのから打ち勝つためのホルモンがどんどん加圧すると出ます。
Especially the fundamental hormones for growth.
グロスホルモンですね。
Growth hormones like IGF, VEGF, etc. Many hormones are produced with KAATSU.
出てきます。
During our research, we also found it produces hormones necessary for plasma activity that helps to prevent blood clots.
血栓を起こさない、起こさないティッシュプラズマアクティビティのホルモンも出てきます。それからあと
A hormone is also produced that reduces possible causes of clots in the
それ
placenta.
を減らすホルモンにもなるわけですね。あと
It also reduces proteins that can cause damage, such as D-dimer.
ダメージがありますので落とします。そうすると
Doing KAATSU on our arms and legs puts a lot of stress on our body.
することによって腕、足にこう締めることによって締めるってか圧を与えることによって我々の体がものすごいストレスを浴びるわけですよ。要するに
In other words, doing KAATSU equals mechanical
メカニ
stress.
カルストレスなんです。その
By applying this mechanical stress to our body, our system wants to demonstrate that it has the power to overcome this
それに
stress.
打ち勝とうっていう力が働いてくるんですよ。で我々が
As we get older, we gradually reduce or stop using our legs, move by car instead of walking.
だんだん
Little
足を
by
使わ
little,
なくなる
this weakens our muscles, and with that, various parts of our body weaken as well.
だんだん筋肉が衰えてくる。いろんなところの筋肉が衰えてくる。それは
This happens because there is no mechanical stress applied to our
与
limbs.
えられないから起こるんですね。起こるんです。その
Weight training and other types of training that athletes do are basically mechanical stresses on the
トレーニン
body.
グしてもメカニカルストレスなんですよ。だからその
So,
メカニカル
if you
ストレ
skip
ス
that mechanical
を
stress, your body will start moving in a more comfortable direction.
楽な方向に行きます。楽
Comfortable equals degeneration.
対価です。
Your
衰え
body
るん
will
です
get
ね。
weaker.
だから
We set the KAATSU cycle mechanical stress to 30 seconds. By applying pressure for 30 seconds, and then releasing for 5 seconds, even someone in their 80s can do the KAATSU cycle mode without risks.
僕の場合は30秒っていうのを設定しましたけど、30秒あって5秒の重圧をすることによって非常に80代の人であっても安心してできる。それとも
One
う一つ
important thing. We are human
野球っていう
beings.
のは
Athletes are used to enduring
痛みを
pain.
こらえて
That is an important part of their world. But when it comes to ordinary people, if they feel pain, they are reluctant to
一
continue.
般の人は
Maybe they cannot bear the discomfort to exercise.
痛み出たら痛みがあったら痛いよっていう状況だったらやりたがらないっていうかできないんですね。痛いのを我慢して。
Some athletes enjoy the pain, but many others do
嬉
not.
しがってやるアスリートもいらっしゃいますよ。そういう方は別です。アスリートは別です。今僕が話しているのは
Now,
サイクル
I'm talking only about everything related to the KAATSU cycle mode. By doing the KAATSU cycle mode, pain is erased from the equation, while the body naturally produces many hormones and beta endorphins, also called intracerebral narcotic.
脳内麻薬と呼んでいますが、ベータエンドルフィンなんかも出ます。そうすると痛みの
This also helps to relieve
な
pain.
る。だから
I think that the more clinical trials that we conduct, the more we will clarify what hormones are produced in the process.
ホルモンが分かってくると思います。
By using the KAATSU cycle mode, you do not have to worry about measuring blood pressure with an instructor like in the KAATSU constant mode.
ついてて大丈夫ですかとか、血圧のも大丈夫ですかとか、そういう本当のケアの心配が少ないんですね。で、一
I
般の
encourage
人
the
は
general public to use the KAATSU cycle mode.
やっていただきたいと。で、なんでサイクルで
Now I will explain how the
効果があるか
KAATSU cycle works.
それをちょっと説明しますね。サイクル
In
で
KAATSU cycle mode, there are 8 steps per each cycle.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8までサイクル上げます。
You keep repeating these
そうす
steps.
ると
A slightly, gradually increasing pressure occurs on your arms or legs.
上げてい
This
くわけで
leads
す
to a pump up in your muscles.
圧が加わってくる。そうすると腕なら腕、足なら足がパンプアップ起こります、筋肉は。その筋肉はグッグッグッ
There is a limit to how much you can inflate the KAATSU air bands. So, there is always a point where the bands feel very tight.
限界がある。そうするとあるとこまで行くともういっぱいいっぱいにきつい状況になります。きつい状況。
When it starts to feel very tight, you will be able to tell that it feels good.
もうそこでものすごくパンプアップして、ああいい感じになったなっていうような感じが自分自身で分かってくるわけですね。だから
By repeating and releasing the pressure, the last sets will be able to be performed almost as if it was in the KAATSU constant mode.
そうすると最後の6セット、5セット、6セット、7セット、8セット頃はもうコンスタントモードにほぼ近い状況になってるわけです。
Your blood lactate level increases, nitric oxide is secreted, and most importantly,
NO も出ますし、それからあと大事なのは、これドクターの皆さんも知ってると思いますけど、血管の内膜の
and endothelial progenitor cells in the intervascular walls will proliferate.
増殖します。増殖します。血液の流れを
This effect not only improves blood flow, but also helps repair your blood vessel
血
walls.
管壁を増殖してくれるんです。修復してくれるんです。だから血管の
Consequently,
内
any
膜
damaged blood vessels are repaired, including the inner, middle, and outer blood
ダ
vessel
メージ
walls.
受けた血管が修復されちゃう。この素晴
KAATSU
らしい
efforts cannot be more
そ
amazing
れ
than
と
this.
弾力
The
性
elasticity of the blood vessel walls
血
improves
管
as
の
well.
弾力性が出てくる。
Without mechanical stress on your blood vessels, there is nothing that stimulates their elasticity. This leads to muscle
それ
degeneration.
がなくなると血管というのは何も刺激来ないなっつってデレンデレンの状況になってだんだん筋肉が退化してくる。そうするとある
Also,
時
if a volume of blood rushes through your system, it may burst.
バッと破れちゃうとか血管に
It will damage your
ダメージ
blood vessels.
そういうことが起こるわけです。よく僕もパワーリフティング
Before, I used to do a lot of powerlifting, but now I do healthy
今は
bodybuilding.
本当にパワーリフティングじゃなくて健康的なボディビルディング、趣味の健康的なボディビルディングをやっております。今年
I will be
74
74 years old this year.
になります。僕はあと
That is a challenge for me, and I don't know if I'll be able to achieve it, but I would like to stay active for 20 more
あと
years.
20年できるかどうかわかりませんよ。だけどチャレンジして20年現役で行こうっていうことを僕は今思っております。それがやれるかどうかわかり
I
ませんが
challenge myself to
チ
achieve
ャレンジい
this.
たします。そのため
In
には
order to achieve that, I will need to keep applying a certain amount of mechanical stress to my
ある
body.
一定のメカニカルストレスを与えてなきゃいけないんですね。与えなきゃいけない。だから僕は
I
常
know,
に
many doctors want to know what kind of training I do, but I will talk about this
後ほ
later.
どあるドクターの先生もその僕のトレーニングを知りたいっていう先生も結構いらっしゃると思うんでそのことは話しますから後ほどで今はその
Now, I'd like to talk about how safe and secure the KAATSU cycle is for older people, and everyone in general.
サイクルを話していますでサイクル
Is there any results that occur by only applying and releasing pressure with KAATSU? Many people asking about this. I gradually increase the pressure on each set, personally doing up to 8 sets.
その1セット目、2セット目、8セットまでありますよね。
The first set has no effect, but my muscles pumps up significantly from the 6th to 8th sets. So, if you do that for 2 or 3 circuits, the KAATSU cycle mode will have the same effect as the KAATSU constant mode.
よりサイクルでももうコンスタントの結構激しいところまで行きます。コンスタントモードともう同じ効果が上がってくるはずです。
Therefore, I recommend the KAATSU cycle mode to the general public. However, some doctors may find the KAATSU constant mode more effective.
コンスタントモードの方が効果があるんじゃないっていうような先生方がいらっしゃるかと思います。
Starting from the first discovery with the CISA incident in 1966, it has been 56 years since I started my own KAATSU training.
すぐに自分のためのトレーニングを開始して、今年で56年間になります。
It will be 56 years in November 2022.
56年間。
I've been doing KAATSU ever since. I also measure my blood pressure every day, 110 systolic and 60 diastolic.
上は110前後ですね。110前後。108とか109とか、あるいは110とか111とか12とか。下は60代。60代の数値です。
I have very young blood vessels too.
血管が若い。
One time, a nurse was surprised when she drew my blood. She said, I got in without any resistance. I have never seen blood vessels like this before.
佐藤先生のこの血管何ですかって抵抗なくスーッと入る。いやーこんな血管見たことないって看護婦さんが驚かれてるんですよ。それは何ですか？
How did you do it?
いや、科学
She
トレー
asked.
ニングのおかげですよ。
I replied, that is thanks to KAATSU training.
人間の体っていう
There are
のは
many important parts in the human body, but if your blood vessels are cut, it is
血管
over.
っていうのはもしどっか切れたりしたらもう終わりでしょ。そのままにしたら。その血
Would it be
管
great
が
if your blood vessels are strengthened and become resilient against various things such as stress or accidents?
強化されて非常にいろんなストレスとかアクシデントとかいろんなに対して血管が強い血管が生まれたらこんな素晴らしいことないですよね。だから
Everyone of all ages can make it happen with the KAATSU
老
cycle
若
mode.
男女の方すべての方ができます。じゃあ次に
Next, let me explain the KAATSU constant mode and KAATSU
トレーニ
training.
ングの方に触れさせていただきます。これはかなり
I'm usually
専門に
questioned about this by specialty doctors.
ドクターの先生方が疑問視していると思います。一つは
One question is why don't I do lift heavy weights anymore?
通常ウェイトトレーニングは
Regular weight training involves lifting weights, such as bench press, 10 times. You need to lift that weight 10 times.
ショルダープレスにしても1セット目10回前後ぐらい上げられるウェイトをしてください。それで
You rest from 1 to 2 minutes, and then start the next set.
インターバルはだいたい1分から2分ぐらい取ってください。
If you can do a second set, that means lifting 10 more times.
10回ぐらいやってください。
And then, after another interval, 10 more times on the third set.
また10回ぐらいやる。
You need to lift 10 times in every set. The reason is that during the process, many metabolites in the blood, blood lactate concentration, etc. are being produced.
いろんな代謝産物、血中乳酸濃度からそういうのが処理されているわけですよ。だから
And because of that, you can keep doing the same number of times as the first set. If you do KAATSU, the process inside your blood vessels becomes more difficult. This leads to gradually reducing the number of repetitions from the second to the third set.
処理することがままならない。できにくくなってくるから、2セット目、3セット目が回数が落ちてくるわけです。落ちてくるわけです。そうすると、
Therefore, I cannot lift heavy weights with KAATSU.
とても持
I
つこと
cannot
がで
handle
きません。扱うことができません。
As for how much weight to use with KAATSU, lift 20 to 30 times on the first set for exercises such as the bench
10回
press.
から12回前後ぐらいのウェイトをまず選びます。加圧トレーニングの場合は20から30ぐらいの間、25から30、20から30ぐらいの幅を持った方がいいと思う。20から30ぐらい1セット目、1セット目にレピテーション、回数ができるベンチプレス、それからトライセプスいいですよ、ショルダープレス、そのウェイトをまず選びます。それで
Then we apply KAATSU pressure.
圧をかけて
Let's imagine you can lift 30 times in one
圧を
set.
かけて選んでも決めてから当然それから圧をかけるんですよ。それで圧をかけたらプレッシャーをかけたらまず仮に30回1セット目ができたとします。そうすると
The pressure will change depending on the person, so the arterial blood filters in, and venous flows out little by little, but the amount that comes in and out is not exactly the same. This means that the amount of blood coming out of your limbs is small. Then the pump in your muscles occurs.
抜けていくっていうか出ていく。動脈血が入ってきて静脈血が抜けていく。だけどその入るのと抜けるのがちょうどいい状況じゃないですから出る方が少ないわけですからパンプアップ現象が起こるわけですね。そうするとそこで
This is when the blood lactate concentration increases significantly. It gets incredibly high,
高くなる。
so much that blood lactate levels surpass the levels in a normal amount of training for athletes.
生まれないよっていうぐらい高くなる。そうすると
As a result, the blood lactate levels are communicated to the brain to help the body.
血中乳酸濃度が脳に指令を出して指令っていうか脳に伝達して脳を助けてくれと。もう
Then, because we have all these accumulated metabolites, your brain starts releasing growth hormones from your pituitary
脳
gland.
は脳下垂体からグロスホルモンを出すわけですね。でグロスホルモンを
It deals with the blood lactate level increase by releasing growth
その
hormones.
血中乳酸濃度を処理するわけです。
It secretes as many hormones as it can be carried through your vascular system.
運送屋さんとして出される。
However, by doing that, our research shows that large numbers of IGF-1 are produced, as well as VEGF hormones, beta endorphins, interleukin 6, and others.
それから新生血管成長因子ホルモンVEGF は生まれるし、それからベータエンドルフィンも生まれるし、インターロイキン6なんかも生まれるし、いっぱい生まれてくる。いや、信じら
It
れな
may
い。
be hard to believe it, but those are hormones that rejuvenate us.
若返る。これを西洋
If I can try to
医療の方でや
replicate
ったら
this with Western medicine, I do not think I
で
can.
きないです。
And, even if I could, it would be very hard to
費用も
do.
かかるし
It is expensive and also does a lot of damage. When you do a set of 30 repetitions, you do not need to take 1 or 2 minutes to rest like with normal weight training.
30回やりました。また戻りますよ。30回やって、そうするとインターバルはどうするか。インターバルは通常のウェイトトレーニングの1分から2分は取る必要ないんです。もう
For example, when you're doing KAATSU on your arms, the lactate in your blood is not completely removed, so short intervals are
そう
fine.
すると血中乳酸が抜けきれないわけですよ。だからインターバルはもう短めでいいんです。腕であれば
Something like 20 to 30
20
seconds of exercise for your arms, and 30 to 40 seconds for your legs.
で足であればもう30秒から40秒
Keep up that interval during the second set, after a short rest.
2セット目を行います。
If you can do 30 repetitions in the first set, do 20 repetitions in the second set, and if you can, do 10 repetitions in the third set.
2セット目は20回前後ぐらい落ちると思います。そしてまた3セット目をチャレンジしたら今度3セット目は10回前後の回数になる。
In my case, I do 4 sets during my workouts. I do 4 to 5 repetitions in my fourth set. That is it.
それで終わります。
I am done with each exercise after 4 sets.
終了します。
I take short intervals, do not lift heavy weights, and only use about 25% of your maximum strength.
だいたい最大筋力のそう 25% ぐらいでしょうかね。だから
That is why KAATSU is less painful.
少ない。
With this approach, it is possible that someone with injured tendons or ligaments can still use light weights when heavy weights are not an option.
軽い重量であれば、ライトウェイトであればできる。重いのは使えない。
With KAATSU constant mode, you can do it.
コンスタントのトレーニングではできるわけですよ。ただ、
However, the KAATSU constant mode requires skill and specialized technique.
匠の技、専門的な技術がいるわけです。
Therefore, often some people do not understand KAATSU unless they are familiar with traditional weight training.
人はなかなかわからないです。ウェイトトレーニング
First of all, you need to learn about weight training. Learn everything about weight training. For example, for someone who does not know how to do bench press or arm curls, the KAATSU cycle mode is more than enough to get a result.
サイクルモードで十分です。十分です、効果。
You do not need to do the KAATSU constant mode. In the KAATSU constant mode, even 15 to 20 minutes can be dangerous.
限界があって、やっぱり15分とか20分やると危険性があるわけです。何かっていうと、
That is because training in a state without blood flow, or becoming too pumped up, your arms and fingers can get purple, and people will still lift.
だけど夢中でトレーニングしてますから、もう腕の指先なんかはもう紫色になって、それでもやってると。
When it gets to this point, this is not KAATSU training
トレ
anymore.
ーニングじゃないんです。
It is more like no blood
も
flow
う止
training.
血トレーニングに近くなる。
The amount of arterial and venous blood flow in the KAATSU constant mode is small, so it must be done
動
smoothly.
脈血、静脈血がこう入ってく、出てく血液が出てく方が少ないんですよ。コンスタントモード。少ない。入ってくる方、出てくる。それがスムーズに行われてなきゃいけないんですね。だから
That is why it is important to choose the right weight for you from the start.
セット法っていうのを知らないといけない。
During the KAATSU constant mode, you always have to do 4 sets with a weight that requires 25% of your maximum lift.
セットはどんなにやっても4セットです。それで重量は最大筋力の 25% ぐらいです。
I'm sure among the doctors listening to this, there are some who know about it, and some that want to do even more incredible training.
聞いてるドクターの皆さんに、俺はもっと詳しいんだとか、もっとすごいトレーニングをやりたいんだとか、そういう人がいると思います。そうすると、
Since every body part is different, I'll briefly tell you about my own training.
僕の場合のトレーニングをちょっとお話しします。月曜日は
On Mondays, I train my chest and triceps.
胸、それから三頭筋、チェスト、それからトライセプスを主流に行います。あとは当然
After that, I do some abdominal training. At that moment, I do 4 chest
胸
exercises.
の種目は全部で、4種目。僕は4種目胸を行います。ベントは
Those are bent arms using cable, bench press, butterfly lifts, and Olympic
そ
lifts.
れからベンチプレス、それからバタフライ、それからディッピングバー、4種目やります。
Next, I do triceps exercises.
種目を行います。三頭筋
For the triceps, I do reverse push-ups and reverse arm extensions.
それからアームリバース、それを行います。
At that moment, I apply additional pressure on my arms.
腕にベンチプレスとかそのバーディップスとかそういう時には腕に加圧をかけてます。
With the additional pressure applied, I reduce the weight to 1/3.
適正圧よりも約3分の1ぐらい落として圧をプレッシャーを下げて圧をかけます。その理由は
The reason I do that is very important.
非常にこれ大
If
事
you
な
can
んで
bench press 50 kilograms without pressure on your arms, you cannot do the same number of repetitions with pressure.
腕に加圧をしないでやれば50キロどんどんできるとします。ところが加圧をしたら50キロの重量が同じ回数はできないんです。ということは
With pressure, the power to push up with your triceps is reduced.
腕の三頭筋で押し上げる力が減ってきます。加圧をかけていることによって腕がそれだけダメージを受けていますから。
Therefore, it is necessary to reduce the weight. This is appropriate for people with tendon injuries, since it reduces the pressure on their shoulder muscle joints.
すごい減るわけですね。だから腱を痛めた人なんかにとっては非常にいいわけです。大胸筋、
I recommend KAATSU to people with chest muscle tears and ruptures as well.
よりその腕に
Keep in mind that, if you bench press with pressure on your arm, you need to do it with less pressure than during your arm training.
下げて圧を下げて行うんですね。
As for how much time I work with the KAATSU constant mode, once I am done with the first bent arm exercise using cables, I reduce the KAATSU pressure.
そんな長く時間をかけちゃうのっていうと、僕の場合はベントアームこのケーブルぐらいが1種目終わると蒸発します。
I am finished in less than 10 minutes.
7分とか8分で終わります。
Then, I drink water and repeat 5 sets on the bench press applying the same pressure.
また同じ圧をかけてベンチプレスを行います。それを4セット。
When I am done with the bench press, I release the pressure. Next, I reapply pressure for the butterfly and bar dips. The time for these exercises is short, so I do 3 sets without releasing pressure.
もう蒸発をしないで時間が短いですから3セットですから続けて行います。
Once the 3 sets of the bar dips are done, I release the pressure, and my chest training is over.
胸は終了です。
Then I drink water again. I next do reverse push-ups.
リバースプッシュアップ
That is for my triceps, my favorite exercise. A long time ago, I aimed for a 20-inch arm circumference.
腕回り、アーム20インチですね。
Now, though I can't get 20 inches, it's about 19 inches when pumped up.
だいたい
That is good enough.
19インチぐらいですけどね。でも太いですよ。
I'm not bragging or anything like that. I am just explaining how I do. I do 4 sets of reverse push-ups, and then 4 sets of reverse arm exercises without releasing the pressure.
そのまま蒸圧をしないでアームリバースをやはり4セット。それで
With that, I am done with my triceps.
トライセプスが終わります。
That is the training I
そういうト
do.
レーニングなんですよ。
For my chest, I only do this once a
胸
week.
は1週間1回しかやらないです。
Yesterday was Friday, so I worked my back in a similar way.
背中の広背筋の部位ですね。部位も同じような形でやりました。それで
Wednesday is shoulders day.
ショルダー、肩ですね。同じような形。月
Monday,
水金
Wednesday, and Friday are my heavy days.
それで
On Tuesday, I do only legs.
足だけです
I only exercise my legs in the KAATSU constant mode.
足だけのハードのコンスタントをやります。であと
On Saturday, I do some aerobic exercise. I do KAATSU on a stationary bicycle.
加圧してバイク、加圧バイクですね。バイクをやります。
It is also very good for my lungs and heart.
効きますよ。心臓と肺にもね。まあそんな
I
形
rest
で
on
日曜
Sunday,
日は
but even when I rest, I always do some KAATSU cycle sets.
でも休息でもサイクルはやりますよ。
For me, doing some KAATSU cycle sets has become like an
常に
addiction.
やんないと
My KAATSU addiction.
なんか中毒状況になっちゃってるんですね。加圧中毒者。もう
It makes me feel so
サイク
good.
ルやるとものすごい気持ちいいんですよ。
It feels like my body can remove all the bad things, and both my body and mind feel refreshed. I think that if I was applying pressure to my arms while talking here, everyone would be able to see and understand what I am saying. I would not do this today, but I can live without KAATSU. But I believe I wouldn't have been able to train and stay active like this at the age of 74 without KAATSU.
僕は生きていくことできないし、このように現役で今74でいられるっていう現役でいられるっていうことも現役を続けているってこともできないと思います。だから
I have been talking about the differences between the KAATSU cycle and the KAATSU constant mode, but for those who want to do weight training using the KAATSU constant mode, you need a minimum of weight training experience, as well as KAATSU cycle experience. Otherwise, do not recommend it.
トレーニング経験がウェイトトレーニング経験がないと、当然あと加圧サイクルの経験もないと僕はいけないと思います。やらない方がいいと思います。
If you are experienced in weight training, ideally, do the KAATSU constant mode. It would give you better results. On the other hand, if you are a beginner who does it, it would be mostly disadvantageous. First, I want you to understand and study weight training. I talked about KAATSU with the WHO, following Western and Oriental medicine, with a third type of medicine, that is called alternative medicine.
前にお話ししたんですが、西洋医療があります。それから東洋医療があります。その3つ目が第三の医療、代替医療。この地球上は
In this world, there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor. There are very rich countries and very poor countries. I think KAATSU will be able to help people in very poor countries better.
貧しい国の人たちをより助けるんじゃないかと思っております。それは
Why do I think so? It is because, if you train, and if you learn about your body, you would not need medicine or surgery. With proper use of KAATSU, you can reduce the chances to require these.
する必要ない。すべてがじゃないですよ。それをきちっとやればかなりそれの軽減されます。実際に
In fact, KAATSU has a really good effect on diabetes.
ダイアビーティスにすごい効果があります。これは先
I
生
think
方が
doctors will understand this
試験
better
していただ
if they
い
try
たりすれ
KAATSU.
ばまずわかると思います。そうすると
In the medical world, it may be complicated since there are medicines, but KAATSU could help people living in poorer countries, where medicines are not equally available.
薬関係もありますしね。ところが貧しい国の人たちはなかなかそういう薬を手に入れるのは大変である。もう食べて
Where even just eating a bowl of rice is a
ご飯を食べ
challenge.
るだけで精一杯である。そうす
It
る
is
と
difficult to treat all these people with just Western
治
medicine.
療するっていうのはなかなか西洋医療にで治療が難しくなる。
With the help of KAATSU as a medical treatment, if a person can do it by themselves, I think it would be something amazing.
自分でできればこんな素晴らしいことないでしょ。だから
That is why I would like to help these people who do not have it easy at all.
貧しい人、そういう人が元気になって頑張ってもらいたい。それを
For that,
切に
I would like to ask for
お願
your
いしておりま
support.
す。
It is obvious that rich people can easily achieve a healthier body. Nobody wants to be ill. All humans are equal when we die, but since most of us want to be healthy, I am sure many doctors have heard their patients asking to cure them, willing to give any amount of money.
もういくらでもお金払うから先生どうか命は助けてくださいっていうそういうお声を先生方聞いてると思います。だから
That's why there's no bigger treasure than your
健
health.
康に勝る宝ないんですね。
Because your health is more important than anything. Everyone must do their
だから
best.
そのために自分で努力しなきゃいけない。
Everyone can safely do the KAATSU cycle mode. In my experience, children from 2 years old to elderly women of 104 years old can do KAATSU. Many different people have been doing KAATSU, some with many different kinds of diseases, even incurable ones.
いろんな方もやりました。だからそういう意味で
I am not saying KAATSU can cure everything, but KAATSU is able to rejuvenate you and has the power to take you back to a time when you felt your best.
僕はいつもこう思ってるんです。KAATSUはあなたが最高に輝いてた時期にタイムスリップしてくれる力があるんだと。
I have faith in my belief.
いつも言い続けております。だから
To all the doctors around the world, please experience KAATSU firsthand and understand that is different from BFR. It is a completely different thing.
このKAATSUは BFR と違うんだと。 全く別物であるということをまず体験して理解していただいて
As the KAATSU inventor, I earnestly would like all doctors to spread KAATSU around the world in order to help all kinds of patients, people in need, poor or rich.
貧しい人たち、裕福な人たち全部含めてどうかKAATSUを普及発展させていただきたいことを 僕はKAATSUインベンターとして切に願っております。本当に
Though it may not have been the best explanation, thank you very much for listening.
この説明ですが、耳を傾けていただいたことに感謝しております。どっかま
I'm
た
looking forward to
先生
meeting you
方
all
と
again.
お会いできるのを楽しみにしております。 どうも
Thank you very much for your
ご清聴
attention.
ありがとうございました。失礼いたします。
Until next time.
I think I'm have more information on it now, but it confused initially because it seemed like the constant method was better for increasing muscle mass, which seemed to be one of the primary purposes. But from a metabolic health perspective, actually, so I was confused why you were so aggressive about making it difficult to implement on the KAATSU systems as you developed. But then as I've been using it for a few years, I began to realize that was my misunderstanding. Even though there may be some truth to it, that from a metabolic perspective, and this is what I would like your insights on, it probably is healthier for the muscle to go in this cycling mode. So otherwise, I think you can increase the muscle mass, but the muscles may not be as healthy, even though they're larger. They may be more spastic and more rigid. So I've switched personally over to using cycling exclusively. I never use the constant mode. Actually, it's I use bands when I'm swimming because you can't really use the KAATSU in the pool on the cycling mode. So if I could, I would, but it's not waterproof to that point. So anyway, I would appreciate your comments on the metabolic benefits of cycling versus constant mode. And just a personal curiosity, I understand from John Doolittle, that you actually use constant tension yourself. So I'm wondering, I mean, there's some deep reason, and I know you don't recommend it for everyone, and that's why you conceal it very effectively from your devices. But I'm just wondering, curious as to why you use the constant. Is it just to increase more muscle mass, or do you think that after decades of using this, it's okay to use it? I just don't know. So it's personal curiosity. So again, I want to end this video dialogue by just expressing my deep gratitude and appreciation for everything you've done. You have helped me gain 25 pounds of muscle mass just by implementing. I use your system somewhere between 2 and 3 hours a day, from almost every day. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.